everybody. I am Haley Gray, and I have Abigail Tiefenthaler here. And we're going to be talking about launching coaches because Women's Entrepreneur Network has a ton of coaches, people who are life coaches, people who are business coaches, people who are health coaches, mindset coaches, you name it, there is a coach for it. And launching a coaching business is very, very different. Getting a business that is a coaching type business off the ground, launched successfully, is in a lot of cases much harder than most people think it's going to be. Especially, I see a lot of Duke trained integrative health coaches, and it's kind of billed as this whole you're going to go out and you're going to get clients and it's going to be super easy and it's a wonderful lifestyle. And they just kind of hit the wall. And it is the most miserable experience I think that some of them have gone through, because you're told, well, just go out and go tell people what you do. And then you go out and you go tell people what you think it is that you do. And you get dumb looks and blank stares and crickets. And people kind of, in some cases, if you're at a networking meeting, I've actually sat there and watched people just kind of edge away really slowly from the coaches in the room.
Aww.
It's painful.
Yes.
And that's not how it's supposed to be.
Mm-mm. No, it isn't. It's I think there's a lot to the entrepreneurial journey that not just coaches, but business owners don't understand. And even if you've gone to school for entrepreneurship, there is nothing that's ever going to replace application, right? Because again, even most coaches, they go through coaching certification programs. And so the coaching certification program is teaching them a process. It's teaching them how to coach. And I think while there are a lot of coaching certification programs that discuss marketing, they really, again, do it more in theory than in application.
Absolutely. And, theory is great.
Theory is great because theory gives you a foundation, but until you're actually implementing, you really don't know what it is that works or not. And the hardest thing, especially with coaches and consultants, because we do a lot of work with professional services as well, is that when they start to feel bad because they're not able to get clients or build a business, they think then they're bad at coaching. But in reality, they're just, they're just naive at business building.
Right.
And so that becomes, a thing we see often is people are saying, well, I can't do this. Nobody's even giving you a chance to know whether you can or you can't do this. All you're realizing is that the method you're using to attract clients is not working.
Mm-hmm. And it has nothing to do with your coaching abilities.
No, actually, you could be the greatest life coach or mindset coach or performance coach in the world that nobody's ever heard of before, because in this virtual world, marketing is even more critical. See, we don't have the opportunity at that in the virtual world that we have in the offline world, where somebody gets to know you over a period of meetings, or your kids both play soccer together, so you're there for an entire season, or you've met somebody at church and you're working in the kitchen together, or on vestry together, or whatever it is. So they don't get a chance to really go, you know what, I really like this person, and she says she focuses on this part of coaching. I'm wondering if my husband would benefit, or my children, or me, or a friend, or a family member. Where now you are being inundated with all these sound bites of not just coaching, but everything. Because, the path to happiness can be physical, can be mental, can be spiritual, can be career, can be um, meditative, can be physical in, doing Pilates. And what the coach is really so superior at is because they've been trained, they have this toolbox
Mm-hmm.
so they can match what you need to what they offer. And if they're never ever given that opportunity to pull their toolbox out, how do you know whether they're a good coach or not? It's like a plumber. The plumber doesn't come in and say, well, I'm going to use a hammer for this and a screwdriver for this. The plumber comes in and says, I'm going to fix your leaky faucet. We don't care what tool he uses. So
Right.
there's a lot of languaging that gets wonked up because most coaches are really talking about their process more than they're talking about the transformative journey that they're going to take that client on.
Well, and I don't think it's just coaches that do that. I mean, I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
every business under the sun. And it's much easier to sell painting or flooring or a new house to people or a new car because people know what that looks like.
Yeah, it's tangible. You can touch it and feel it. And the interesting thing too, and I don't know if any of your listeners were on the Leverage Launch 3-day event that we just did a couple of weeks ago, my business partner and I. But Jane, who was talking about the selling portion, because we have a 5-step sequence that takes in selling and serving as step 4, and she was talking about the fact that she had been in staffing
Mm-hmm.
and was always one of the top producers, was one of the top managers. Her regions were always the most successful. And I had the same issue in promotional products. I had $1 million promotional products business as a solopreneur. The minute I went back to my branding strategy roots and my brand and marketing strategy roots, crickets. Because now what we're selling is intellectual property. We're selling a process. And the result, at the end of the day, there's no logoed item or person that's been put into a staff position to show for it. There's no piece of furniture that's been made to show
You
for it
don't
or
have
a
a
dress.
widget.
You don't have that. So when somebody says no, it's really becomes a little personal,
Yeah.
thinking, well, they're not saying no to, they're saying, what they're saying is no to a process. They're not
Yes.
saying no to you or no to a transformation. It's just most coaches and consultants and business owners who are selling intellectual property and processes are selling the process as opposed to the result, the transformation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I mean, I think that is it's a critical distinction between the two because it is so much easier to sell, here's what I do, here's how I do it. But it's an intangible, here's what you really get.
Right.
And then people's minds just kind of go, does not compute. Here's what you really get. And unless you can tie it into a concrete benefit, something, that here it is, that here, this is what you are trying to achieve, people just kind of go, their brains just kind of short circuit out and they're just like, okay, I'm not listening now.
Well, right, because actually we shouldn't stop at the benefit. We need to go to the result. So if you have features, if you take a 14-ounce styrofoam cup, the features are it's 14 ounce. The feature is it's styrofoam. The benefit of styrofoam is that you can put hot or cold and it will stay hot or cold, right? If it has a lid, the benefit is it can be spill proof. But the result is
Right.
now you can leave the house 20 minutes later because you don't have to drive through some place to buy it. So we have just given you back time. Maybe we've saved you money. And that's the result. That's the result, not the benefit. So the benefit is, again, hot, cold. The result is we've saved you time, we've saved you money. And when coaches and consultants are offering their services, they are traditionally they stop at the benefit. So it's kind of like a golf swing that stops when the ball it connects with the ball, as opposed to the best golfers it's their follow through that gives them that extra distance or precision, down on the course. And the results, the where coaches, I think, because I've struggled with the same problem as a consultant, is, results are never guaranteed. You can take 5 people and put them through the same weight loss program or the same meditative program or the same business structure program, and not all 5 of them will achieve the same results. One, it'll be transformative to their business or their personal life. One will never ever participate and will basically keep that program on the shelf, right? It's the book they bought that they never read. And 2 or 3 of them will stop at some point before they even get to the opportunity to achieve a result.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, I think that is, yet another part of it too, because if you hire somebody to do your flooring, you're going to get that result.
Right.
If you hire
the
somebody to be your
intangibles are
coach,
tough.
You don't know that you're 100% going to get that result. And part of it is, our own stinking follow through. And some of it is our own personal, way of being, because, it's easy enough to pay for that gym membership, but it's a whole different story on whether you show up.
Right. And that it's actually a two-way street too. It's one of the things we work on with our clients at Lunches Made Simple, because we want them to understand that even though part of our expertise is in using paid media to, paid advertising to start our funnel, our marketing funnel, it doesn't stop with the lead, and it doesn't even stop with the selling, because we don't want our
Right.
clients to get on calls with their prospects if they don't know what they're going to do with that prospect once she or he says yes.
Yes.
And that's, the saying, say yes and figure it out afterward. That works sometimes, but when you all of a sudden have done a speaking engagement, or you've done an event, or you are trying to fill a group program, if you don't have that onboarding process in place that, works for you and your client, you get people who are already coming in a little discombobulated. So you may get people who are looking more for the negatives than the positives from the get-go. You have more refunds. And if I'm, assuming that you know how to close and convert and bring people on. So, we talk about a lot of steps in the process, because it really is a process, and they all feed, we're getting better at onboarding every single day. We are looking at how do we improve this scenario every single day.
Yeah.
Because
and onboarding is critical to the entire survival of the business. I mean, a lot of people are like, well, how do I really get clients? And we're like, well, you have to talk to people. But if your onboarding process and your entire business process isn't rock solid, it's going to be really tough.
Well, you know why? Because there's a confidence factor.
Absolutely.
If I walked into your office and I said, I just took a look at your property. I'm a landscaping designer. I just took a look at your property, and I envisioned this and this and this. You're buying the vision.
Right.
Right. Whether you buy the trees from me, or that I only do the vision if if the trees are included, whatever it is. And I think a lot of coaches and consultants, they do get a little weary about going that far and helping that client see that vision. Because, I have to know too that, well, my nursery is going to carry the trees I'm selling, right? That I'm going to be able to do the gradation on the land to be able to put those trees there, that I'm going to understand nutrient wise what they need. So it becomes, the more we have on that back in our head and in our pocket, the more confident we are that says, hey, you know what? You want to hire me because this is going to be smooth all the way down the line. We're
Absolutely.
right all the way down the path. And that onboarding and that client delivery of materials is an important step to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think that that is a piece that we easily lose much of the time.
Well, especially especially when we're transitioning from offline to online,
Mm-hmm.
and especially when we're transitioning from one to some,
Yes.
or
Well, I
one
mean,
to many.
I see it too also with most businesses as they start to grow even just a little bit. So once you start approaching what I would say is about 50% of your actual capacity for one person, once you start, and this is almost like what I experienced with networking, with computer networking. Um, and it's kind of funny to me how analogous humans and computers and computer networks can be. So forgive me for my geek out moment, but when a computer network starts to hit 50% utilization, you start dropping packets, which
That
means
makes sense.
you start to get blurry, you start to be choppy, you start to lose communications, and that's what happens with us as humans. Because unless you have a what we call a lossless protocol, which is not TCP/IP, I might add, or what the internet now runs on. The closer you get to capacity, the more things that get dropped, the more choppy it is, the more likely it is to have things that get lost in the translation.
Right.
And humans do the same things. We'll drop leads, we'll fail to call people back, we will forget to send out a contract, we will forget to send out invoices on time. It's all those things. And it's not just coaches. I mean, I see it with my flooring guys. I see it with my HVAC guys, everybody, right? And when you're in this online world, all of the, our entire world is virtual. So people only see this online screen representation of us. So when they get that choppiness, they make much harsher judgments of our business than they would if they knew us in real life, in person.
Absolutely. There's grace and mercy on a soccer field, and grace and mercy in church, and grace and mercy in your community. So much different than grace and mercy online.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's what I refer to it as.
Yeah, no, totally. And I mean, when you don't have those processes and procedures as tightly nailed down, especially in an online business, that grace and mercy is, gone. I mean, if you post and when that you're looking for a coach, if that first person is choppy in their delivery, you're going to go to the next 30 that just messaged you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, and a lot of people are judging the opportunity to work with a particular person based on their online persona, which is another reason, we always tell high school kids who are on Facebook, your college recruiters are going to be looking at it. So a lot of times too, and we do this, right? Humans judge, no matter how we try to be open and sensitive and non-judgmental. We traditionally judge, and I've looked at particular people before, and they're doing their Facebook lives from an unmade bed, or to my generation, that's like the bedroom is for sleeping and whatever. It's not necessarily for business building. And yet, a 25-year-old might be cool. She's relaxed and laid back, and this is like it all goes well. So that's to me, that's one of the things that's really critical in again, as a branding strategist, how do you want to show up?
Right.
And because do I want to be like, hey man, like this is all really groovy chicks, like, it's going to resonate with some people and be turned off by others. Do you want to be serious? Do you want to be playful? Do you want to be comical? Do you want to be that laid back, relaxed, anything goes kind of person?
Mhm.
There's so many aspects to it where, again, if you're offline marketing, you you have that opportunity to temper it over a period of time.
Mhm. Yeah, and your online doesn't have that same capability, unfortunately.
No, it doesn't.
So describe to me what it is that you guys do with Launches Made Simple.
Sure. Thank you for asking. We create, you know, 10K a month coaches consistently. And the key word here is consistent. And, our keywords are simple and consistent if we had to do anything. But we work with coaches who fall into a couple of buckets, have never been online, have looked at and would love to be online, but kind of fear all of the stories they've heard about trials and tribulations and failures. So they're busy. They have a successful offline business, accountants and mental health counselors and people who are in professional services now, but they're looking to have a little more freedom, be less, tied to brick and mortar. They do the same thing over and over again with coaches, with their clients. So they're looking for kind of a place to do that. So they're one bucket. A second bucket is the coach who's said, I really want to build an online business. I've got an online course, and they've been trying for 1 to 3 years to get success. And the most they've ever done was put 8 people into a beta test program, or they just haven't reached the level of success they want to. And then the third is the client who's scaling, who really has already, they're looking to put more consistency. They know organic reach is a slower path than paid reach, and they're looking to take some of the marketing steps off their back. What we do is we work with our clients as marketing partners first and foremost. We help them really firm up and align their brand to their marketing message, to their position. And then we go into funnel development, and our funnel can be agnostic. It's not platform specific. I don't care if you're speaking to bring leads in, or you're doing Facebook ads to bring leads in, or YouTube ads, or whatever the platform is, or you're doing offline networking to bring leads in. And then we put them into a very regimented funnel. And our philosophy is the theory of one. Our philosophy is we want one target audience with one offer, with one funnel, with one promise. And that promise is whatever that result is. So the client basically has one offer that comes in at their mid-level, and they either downsell or upsell, because we're using the strategy session as as opposed to a click to buy long form sales page. And we do all of that work for them. So there's collaboration in the beginning, and then there's collaboration as we're analyzing the results and tweaking data and tweaking steps in our funnel. But our funnel is designed to bring qualified leads. And then we even work with our clients to get them really sales ready. So we can help them with some simple selling support. We can actually outsource their sales for them, or we can do their sales for them, or bring them one-on-one with a sales trainer. So the team's really interesting, because Tammy and I both co-founded the business, but we have a course creator who offers a weekly group call, and she has helped some of our clients actually create their own courses. We have a weekly sales training call where, again, Jane will get on one-on-one with the clients, if they want additional support. And then we now just added a tech support where twice a month she gets on to do Q&As. So they're not so much training as they are office hours. And what we talk about is having an end-to-end launch focused. And we define launch as you are bringing anything new, you are birthing anything new to the community. So
Mhm.
eventually the goal is let's get this process working. Let's get this single funnel working. Let's get you confidently closing. This is the right market. This was the right message. And then we talk about layering.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're using Facebook ads, and email is an important critical part of the puzzle. We provide content for the Facebook ads, content and integration for the rest of the system, which is webinar based, opt-in page, email nurture sequence into an application document. So you have an idea of with whom you're speaking, a scheduler, an autoresponder, and it's a whole system to bring leads to your sales table.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. And I mean, that's what it's about at the end of the day, is leads to turn into sales, to turn into.
And it's where do you want to be spending your time? Our clients want to be spending their time coaching or consulting, working with their clients, or thinking bigger vision. I want to get this book written so I can get on a speaker circuit. I want to be on a speaker circuit with this type of presentation. I mean, there's certainly other steps to layering marketing, but this is it. Most coaches and consultants are looking at what else is going on in the industry, saying, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. And it's kind of like they're starting breakfast, lunch, and dinner all at one time when they're not really focused, and not just on breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but I'm focused on breakfast. Okay, I want to have a meat, I want to have a protein, and I want to have some carbs. So I need to learn how to time all of those things to be prepared so everything is hot. And what's the longest thing out, right? The eggs are going to take 30 minutes in the oven. I need the bacon grease to put in the egg pan. I mean, it's helping you really kind of say, okay, we're going to take everything step by step and integrate it so that at the end you can serve 2 people or 102 people because the process was the same.
Right. And that is the important thing, is understanding that you can do it all, but you've got to have the processes, and you can't do it all and roll it out from the beginning at once without driving yourself completely and totally stark raving mad.
Especially with automation right now, especially with innovation and technology right now. You have so many things that are changing faster than any human can keep up. And
Right.
is, the day you finally get Facebook ads right is the day Zuckerberg decides to change the complete algorithm. And they do it frequently. I mean, the entire Facebook team is always, right? Always changing their algorithm.
And then you think you've got your layouts. Poof.
Yeah, it's great. And it's not just Facebook. It's just Facebook represents 2.6 billion users. So it becomes a really good place to start the process. We actually layer a couple of other platforms in as well. So when we talk about creating a Facebook-based ad funnel, we are really also including a couple of other platforms. And we're testing, always, like we did LinkedIn ads a couple of months ago, and it was still a little bit of the Wild West and wasn't getting the reach. That doesn't mean LinkedIn ads don't work. It just simply means it needs a little more refinement. We've tested YouTube ads, or we're getting ready to test YouTube ads. So anything that we're recommending to our clients, it's because it's worked for us. We are very big on the fact that don't do as I say, do as I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you have to have that experience to know what is currently working too.
Right.
The emphasis on currently, because like you said, you may wake up tomorrow and suddenly none of your Facebook ads are working, or suddenly Google has rolled out a new, platform, and your SEO goes to pot. Whatever it is, you've got to be ready for that. And part of that is working with a team that is on top of that, and they're making recommendations based on current relevant experience.
Well, and there's other things. I mean, unfortunately, I mean, most of the time, somebody who's trying to bootstrap it and do it themselves, the insights don't work. Facebook, while the insights are there as a guide, I think they almost create more challenges than you want somebody who understands retargeting. You want somebody who understands, custom demographics. And it's like, you want somebody that knows, like, you don't want to be advertised. You want how to be able to turn on and turn off. the ads around certain situations because the cost per ad is or per lead is too high. You want somebody to know when you should be integrating other platforms or staying with one, when you need to shift your audience, when you need to change your graphic, when you need to change your headline, when you need to just it's not an accounting system. It's not a one and done. There's no LIFO or FIFO in marketing. So it becomes really critical to have somebody who's not only just sometimes looking at it every day, but may even be looking at it the first couple of times. And you don't want to find out that you just blew $100 on an ad that's bringing you nothing or not great leads. So with our clients, we ask them to start at $10 a day so we can test, and we may test 12 different ads. Our clients have approved all of them, but by the end of day 3 or 4, we may be down to 3.
Right. And
we've already pulled ads.
Yeah, that's part of the important part with testing is trying a bunch of different iterations, getting enough information, and then you start pulling things pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, we had a situation, and again, we're pretty full transparent in what we've done. We had a situation where we were getting a ton of click-throughs because of the graphic, but they weren't converting to opt-ins. So we canceled that ad, took the, put the ad off. And while another one was performing a little slower, it was converting better to click-ins. And with our system, not only do we know the conversion rate to click in and then the click into the webinar and then or into the, we know what email clients have scheduled a strategy call from. We know on our webinar, if everybody is falling off at a particular time, we need to go back and take a look and say, what happened at minute 17 that everybody's throwing themselves off at 18? So they're not even getting to the strategy session offer, or the way they answer on an application, they're always answering it. We're not being clear enough in our verbiage, or our schedule isn't going far enough out, or it's going too far out. And people are saying, oh no, I'm not interested, because we don't have that urgency. So there are so many places that are just nuanced, sometimes a little bit, that can change the success of a program.
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much. And I mean, this is such valuable information. I mean, take it, repeat it on, steroids here, listen to what Abigail's saying, because it's true. It's these little nuances, little tweaks that make or break your program.
Yeah. And I don't want coaches and consultants to feel that they don't have the ability to deliver what they became passionate about and wanted to serve, whether it's to make an impact or to make money or to say, screw you to somebody who said they could never do anything. I really want them to be successful, and where their best opportunity for success lies is in their ability to coach and consult.
Absolutely.
Even though we get judged on how we market. So we are training up coaches who want to use marketing to build a business, not become digital marketers. And we know there's coaches and consultants out there who are really digital marketers who, oh, by the way, coach, because their programs are nowhere near as robust as a lot of the coaches who are coaches using digital marketing to build their business.
Absolutely. And I think that that's a very important distinction. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
How does somebody get in touch with you?
Well, through the WEN group, I actually do Thursday trainings from 12 to 1 Eastern. I do a program called Business Simplified, and it's just some short, simple business truths, hacks, tips, perspectives. And I, encourage you to take a look at them. My name is on the bottom, so you can reach me by Facebook, private message. My phone and my email are both on my About Me page. So feel free. And team@launchesmadesimple.com is an email that goes to both Tammy and it goes to me. So if anybody ever wanted to reach out, and my feeling is this: let's have a call. just schedule a strategy session. And we're not hard selling. We are just seeing
No,
what's the best next step for you.
absolutely. I love it. And I mean, I've known Abigail for a while and love what you guys do. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Oh, thank you. We love you
Take care,
too.
guys. Thank you. Take care, y'all. Have a great afternoon. We will see you soon. Bye.